All right, so let's wrap that up with the glues. So basic stuff for gluing. This here is some tape. This here is duct tape. So nothing to do with the animal. It's for ducts. So for metal pipes, you can just stick them together. Those tapes here, they have some fibers in them. So it's cross-woven. So when you rip them, often they get exposed at the ends. This tape here doesn't have fibers, so that's just white sellotape. There's another one. This here is masking tape. So masking tape comes in green, blue, or usually it's beige. It's quite handy if you just want to temporarily hold stuff together, so that you can just stick stuff together. Just paper with a little bit of gooey surface. Then this here is a double-sided tape. You can put that between two materials. Then all-time favorite, hot glue. Hot glue works for a lot of materials. Make sure that your hot glue gun, that it is safe. So check the cable. This here has a test tag. So cable should nowhere be burned that you can see the inner insulation. Then when we're not using the hot glue gun, always put it on those feet. So then even if it's switched on, worst case, the glue just dribbles out here in the front, but the machine itself will not be destroyed. If you put the hot glue gun on the side and it's plugged in, then it actually will fry its internals. So always store it this way. And then when you've finished, unplug it. The next type of glue that I want to show you is PVA. So PVA glue is the standard wood glue that you might know. Then there's two types. One is called interior, the other one is called exterior or waterproof. Personally, I would always recommend waterproof, because then if you make a piece of furniture and you use water-based paint, this does not affect the strength of your glue joint. So the price of interior and exterior is the same. Another interesting glue is this one here. That's Gorilla Glue. That is urethane glue. Urethane glues have the advantage that they also are a little bit gap filling, what a PVA glue doesn't. So with PVA, you will have to glue two things that perfectly fit together, like that board onto that. If you have a slight gap in between, then the Gorilla Glue, it will just foam up and fill that gap if you work with timber. If you want to glue things like styrofoam to styrofoam, or you have other materials that don't contain a little bit of moisture, timber always contains moisture, a couple percent, but artificial materials like this Otex would not, then you have to add a little bit of moisture in, just spray on with a spray bottle, and then you can use urethane glue, but really hold your stuff together either with a weight on top, or you just tape it together just with some tape, hold it in place. This is a PVA type of glue that, yeah, it's pretty new. It works reasonable, but don't have gaps between the parts that are bigger than 2 millimeters, because else it also will take quite a while for gluing. But it's relatively nice to work with. You can try that out. Sticks just about anything, doesn't mean it will stick everything. So especially if you have surfaces that are non-porous, then like if you have two glossy plastics and you want to glue it together with that stuff, it will take for ages, because the solvents or the water would have to evaporate sideways, so this would not be the best thing there. So if you want to glue 2 layers of plastic or 2 layers of glass or metal or plastic to metal, any surfaces that will definitely not absorb solvents or water, then you will go rather to a contact glue. This here is the market leader in New Zealand, is ADOS F2. It has a lot of quite nasty solvents in it, but technically it's a brilliant material. So that's for flooring, laminates, or rubber. So there they show a shoe. It's when you have two surfaces, you will just spread that F2, or can also be a Sally's Quick Grip, or so. Any of those you will put on both surfaces really thin, and then you let it dry. You let it dry for 7 minutes or so. Then when it's touch dry, then you just push those two surfaces hard together, and then it bonds immediately. So you don't really have any way of then adjusting it afterwards. So if you stuck it together like this, that's it. You can't then move it, right? So that's contact glues. You can also get contact glue in a spray can. It's not really what we would recommend, because in a spray can, most of it is just the propellant gas, so like butane gas that you buy for nothing, and there's a tiny bit of glue in there, and that glue is very, very viscous, so it's a very thin liquid that you can actually spray it, so you don't get much glue for your top dollar. Other interesting glues, this here is Eraldite, so that's an epoxy glue. You get other epoxy glues, but Eraldite is the market leader. This here is the 5-minute version. You can see that there. There's also a 12-hour version, also just read first before you buy that you get the right stuff. You can see the two syringes here, they are combined together. So when you cut the end off, then you can press there, and from each of those syringes, the same amount of liquid will come onto the board where you want to mix it. So this is a two-component, part A and part B. They have to be then properly mixed together, and after 5 minutes, that mix sets hard. So it doesn't matter if it is perfect fit between the two parts that you want to glue. After 5 minutes, regardless how thick that stuff is, it will set hard. It sticks to really a lot of materials, and you can even use it on styrofoam, what you can't do with a contact glue that will eat it. So it's highly interesting things, but because it's an epoxy, please definitely avoid skin contact at all costs. So you have to wear new rubber gloves, and then you work with it, then you put it in your packaging, and only then you take the rubber gloves off. You don't want any skin contact, because it can lead to allergic reactions. There's another type that's called kneaded, so that's polymer repair compound. Polymer just means it's a plastic. So this is polymerization, means that you have several molecules that are put together. So it sounds very scientific, but it's just a plastic repair compound. They have multi-purpose steel and aqua. It's just different colors of the same stuff. And so multi-purpose is beige, is aqua is white, and steel is gray. It's the same thing. It's a polyester that, and if you open that up, you cut from this stick that is in there, you cut a piece off, and you will see that the center has a different color to the outside. So it's pretty much, you have the two components and you knead them together. And then once it's one color right through, then again, you have like 5 to 10 minutes, and then it sets hard. Pretty handy stuff, and you can use it like Sculpey. So that's quite fun to work with. But I definitely recommend to wear gloves with that one as well. Then another thing is super glue. Super glue is cyanoacrylate. So it's actually not that super, but it's just a brilliant name for glue. Is hundreds kinds of super glue out there on the market. You can read all that stuff, but they have one thing in common, and this is that super glue will always off gas. The vapors of the super glue are harmful to especially the eyes, because super glue is reacting with water. And the front of your eyes has water, so if you work with super glue, work that there is some airflow away from you, and ideally wear your eye protection. So that is a strong recommendation. If you've accidentally glued your fingertips together, don't take a craft knife or something, but just get some CRC oil or WD-40, spray it on it and wiggle it, and then after a minute or so you can take it apart again. All right, so that's it with this recording. I hope it helps you, and